right, it's another day. It's another episode of Your Daily Scrum with Professional Scrum Trainers, Todd Miller and Ryan Ripley. That's Todd, I'm Ryan. We get together each and every day to help you get better with your Scrum practices, ideas, skills, and all that stuff each and every day. Like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Check out the description. Learn about Todd and I, our book, Fixing Your Scrum, the classes we teach through scrum.org. Leave us a comment. Let us know how it's going. Is this helping? We love hearing from you. All right, Todd, today we have a topic. This is a question we get asked at least once a week.
Lot.
It happens a lot. So we thought, let's just do a video. How do you become a professional Scrum trainer?
I think first from a tactical perspective, visit the scrum.org website.
Yep.
There is a application that you submit there, right?
Yep.
And you deal with the great people up at scrum.org to get you working through the process. It's a very transparent process. You learn a lot by going through the process. But from a tactical perspective, you go to the scrum.org website and you complete an application.
Yeah. And then that application kicks off a process that can take 6 months, 12 months, 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
There are trainers that have gotten through quickly. There are trainers that took a number of years. But it's a great process. Like Todd said, you interview with a lot of people, you take a lot of the scrum.org assessments, you go through some peer reviews. And I mean, you can learn so much about the actual mechanics through scrum.org.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a bigger question, or I think a more interesting part of the question is, what do you do before you submit the application?
Yeah.
And so,
Yep. So we got the tactical part aside. So what do we do now?
Well, I think every journey is going to be a little different, right? Todd and I know, I think there's over 400 PSTs now, professional Scrum trainers.
Ballparking it. Yeah, somewhere there.
Yeah, we know a few hundred of them,
Yeah.
give or take. There's a lot of people we don't know anymore. But whenever we talk to people about their journeys, they're all very different. You know, a lot of people come in. Todd and I started as developers, and then we have a lot of Scrum Master, product owner, executive leadership, all sorts of that kind of experience. And we did that for about 20 years before becoming trainers.
Mm-hmm.
And so that might be an indication of where the second part of the answer is going. We spent a lot of time in the trenches honing our craft.
Mm-hmm.
So and again, like scrum.org owns the process.
Mm-hmm.
They make all the decisions. Trainers have no input into who becomes a fellow trainer, right? So we can't, unlike some other organizations, we can't block people. We can't throw up hurdles. We can't, we have zero input. Right. And so whatever we say here will not influence your journey at all. This is just our general advice. Like, it is all scrum.org's decision.
Yep.
But what I would say is we spent years honing our craft.
Yeah.
Years.
Yeah. And there's a lot when you say honing their craft, there's a lot, because specifically just some advice is stay in the trenches, right?
Yeah.
Think about the stances of a Scrum Master. And, people will be like, well, I don't have practical teaching experience. Well, one of the things that you're supposed to do as a Scrum Master is take a teaching stance. And so years before I was a PST, I had my own hand-rolled Scrum training stuff.
Yep.
I worked in consulting, I worked for private companies, and I would take that, like a Agile 101, Scrum 101, how to write PBIs, how to do all the things. I had hand-rolled stuff that I took a training stance on. Yep. And I just made sure I understood what it's like to operate and be in a classroom. And so I think that's one thing I think that's unique, that you're going to need to couple with your experience a little bit more. You do not have to know how to teach. And that isn't necessarily an easy skill to acquire. It takes time, it takes work, it takes effort. There's a lot of things that you can do from a facilitation perspective to help with that. But that's a stance that you have to work on. You have to take. It is a requirement that you have some classroom and practical experience teaching. So we always encourage you to take that stance when applicable as a Scrum Master.
Yeah, I had to get comfortable with public speaking with confidence, speaking accurately about the topic. So I did a lot of conference talks. And if you start out as a conference speaker, I mean, you don't get the keynote stage on day one. So I would speak to audience of 2 to audiences of 10. I would just take every opportunity I could to get in front of people. And that eventually grew into keynotes and larger conferences. But I had to really hone that skill. being able to speak well, speak accurately, speak precisely. So I spent a lot of time on my own. There's a great book, Deep Work by Cal Newport. I think you really have to do deep work on Scrum. You got to sit down and think about the framework, think about your experiences, really process what you've done, what you need to do, and be able to speak to these things fluently and quickly. You cannot be slow on an answer. To Todd's point, when you're teaching, you've got to have this stuff at the call. Like when we're teaching a Scrum class, if someone asks us about the daily Scrum, we can't pause and open up the Scrum guide. We've got to say, here's what it is. Here's what it needs to be. Here's what it's been in practice. Here where the common pitfalls are. Here are 10 ideas that you can try to make it better. And it's got to be boom, 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 boom. And you only get there through repetition and deep thought, right? Yeah. Deep work. And so spending a year or so on that was just more than that, actually, was absolutely critical.
Yeah. And then pair that with the fact that you've got to do things like create videos, blog. You got to do the little things, because those really those test your ability to be really precise, right? And I remember it was probably 3, maybe 4 years before I was a PST. I had an expansive blog, right? And it was more or less, that was a way that I kind of created a diary to some extent, is blogging about my experiences, both positive and negative. And I became a better blogger, right? Which I guess, helps to hone that skill of precision. So you were saying conferences, I was mentioning teaching, you're talking about just honing skills. Now I'm mentioning kind of take a step out of your comfort zone and doing some public things like blogging. All these things are necessary. Honestly, what I'm really feeling like, Ryan, like we're landing on here, you really got to want it, and you got to really work for it, because it's the process is not easy. And so I feel like if you have the desire, then it's absolutely possible.
Yeah. And you just have to be ready for that long journey, right? This is, you are joining the most elite group of Scrum thinkers on the planet. And I hope that I say that with also a lot of awe and humility, right? There's a lot of people that we learn from in there. When I first joined, I definitely did not feel like I belonged. I don't know, Todd, did you have any thoughts like that too?
All the time. Yeah.
I mean, there's just some brilliant people in there that we really are privileged to be able to work with and have, regular conversations with. I mean, this is a big thing. This is not hey, I just took a Scrum class and the next step is PST. Like if that's, and what I love about the scrum.org processes is they sniff that out very quickly. And they still love you and they're going to work with you, but they're also going to say, look, this is a multi-year journey and you're signing up, but it's so rewarding when you get there. And so if you're on this path, reach out to scrum.org, fill out the application, start that process, but keep in mind, like there's specific things they're looking for. A lot of it is in the trenches experience and work. They've made it very difficult to fake your way through it. Like it is a real process. And, but it's also one that I learned a lot from going through.
Totally.
So we highly encourage it, but I hope we've set that bar high and that we've also kind of made it clear that this is not a trivial thing. So
yeah, cool. Go get it. Good luck.
Yeah, get it. Leave us your questions below. Like perhaps we've missed a certain aspect of it. We'd love to follow back or circle back on this. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss an episode. Check out the socials. We got a lot going on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Some videos are going to pop up. Hey, if you're starting down this path, the Scrum Framework video series from us is a great place to start. It's free. It's fairly comprehensive. There's also a free EBM set of videos that should teach you that framework as well. Some merch is going to pop up. I mean, it can't hurt to show up for your interview with a Squirrel Burger hoodie, right? I mean, that shows you're all in. So pick up your stuff, watch the videos, like and subscribe, leave your comments. Let us know how we did. Story points are, as always, massive trash. We'll see you next time.